Welcome back to the No Cut Sports Podcast. Today we discuss what I took from the Lane Johnson comments that he recently made on the Richard Eisen show pertaining to Jalen Hurts dealing with the noise from the Philly media. Next, we also discuss why Saquon Barkley has the league scared. He's a weapon. Also, with the $25 million we have left, does how we try to extend anybody? All that and more today on the No Cut Sports Podcast. Let's roll. Yo, welcome back to the No Cut Sports Podcast with your host, Nah Frazier. And before we get into anything, could you please like, comment, and subscribe to always catch this vibe? And also turn on the notifications so you can always be alerted for when I drop a video too as well. But let's get into the topics for today. The first thing we're going to talk about is recently Lane Johnson made an appearance on the Richard Eisen show where he talked about, and we've been talking about it as well, big media, especially Philadelphia media, coming out against Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts, some of the remarks that he's made or that they think he's trying to allude to something with Nick Sirianni. So I'm going to play this clip right here.
Jalen Hurts shown up, Lane, and that question is infused with a lot of chatter coming out of the city there in Philly about this being a big season for him, a little bit of pressure that he may not be the guy after all because of the last 7 games of last season. Lane, how do you respond to any of that chatter coming out of Philly?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, Philly's a big media market. You know, you hear lots of stories, but I think just this offseason, he's really done a good job of bonding with his teammates. I felt like the connection has definitely grown. A really big offseason. The work ethic has never been an issue. Tremendous worker, but just becoming a more vocal leader. And, you know, I think whenever he speaks, you know, guys listen up, and him reaching out to guys and creating these bonds in the offseason. You know, he's having these, throwing sessions with the receivers now in the offseason, getting work in, but really has gone out of his way to connect with his teammates, and we feel that. And, yeah, we're really excited about this year. Every year's a kind of a prove it deal to everybody when you're in that town. And, we all feel it to some degree, but Jalen's our guy moving forward. We love him. We respect him. And, nobody puts in more work than he does.
How he's become more vocal that you're willing to share?
Just when we do breakout sessions during the off season, organizing events to get together, usually more dinners, hanging out stuff on the weekend. So maybe stuff we took for granted, earlier past few years, we really had a big chance this off season to bond, and we spent time doing that, bowling, cookouts, but really just spending time together.
What I took from this clip was the bonding and connection is the biggest thing. And I think that's one of their core values or whatever they call them. I can't remember, but I think it's a core value that they have within the Philadelphia Eagles organization, bonding and connecting with one another. It seems to be like off season. We really didn't see that too often, especially on the sideline. It just seemed like the players weren't engaged, and then more information has come out about coaching and things like that. Not putting players in the right situations or right places in the field. So there was a lot of stuff going on last year, and they also asked them too, if y'all caught in the clip. I don't know if it's all in the same clip, but they also had asked Lane Johnson as well about is the problem out of the building, and then that's when that's what I'm saying. He ended up discussing or talking about players got to play and coaches got to coach. So somewhere along the lines, it just seemed like, and if you remember Kevin Byard coming out saying they were doing their own player scouting for one of the games. I can't remember what game it was, and then we see it was shortly after that you see Sean Desai get moved off the field up into the box, and then Matt Patricia takes over. So it just seemed to be like everybody was just doing stuff that they weren't supposed to be doing, and hopefully this year with the coaching that they brought in and experience behind him that we can get this thing back on the rails. It seems like they have a chip on their shoulder because of losing how they lost last year. It wasn't nice, man. It wasn't pretty at all. And I like if you've been watching me, I was saying this. I'm like, this is not Philadelphia football because yeah, we winning and stuff like that, but how you're winning, and I'm not saying you're always going to get beautiful wins. Sometimes they're going to be ugly wins, but it just seemed to be like last year. It was just like ugly win after ugly win, and we just collapsed. But it's good to see that Jalen's taking this approach this all season with bonding, connecting with the team more. Having these throwing sessions that I talked about in one of my recent videos down there at UCF with Johnny, my boy Johnny Walker. You know what I'm talking about doing when I say Johnny Walker. That's my nickname for Johnny Wilson. Hopefully they can build some type of rapport, man, because I think he's going to be very, very, very key to this offense because he's just a big target, man. He can be a red zone threat, third down threat, blocking, things like that. So he brings a lot to the table if he can stay healthy and work his way into this wide receiver 3 position. But it's just good to see, man. Guys hanging out. They said they bold and stuff like that. But these guys, they got friends too that they grow up with that when they go home they deal with. But these are players. I mean, these are your coworkers. So you kind of gotta have a relationship with these guys because regardless how you feel about them, I'm not saying there's any ill will toward anyone in the locker room, but you're with these guys more than you're with your own family. So it's good that everybody's starting to build that or building that rapport with one another. But moving on, man. I also wanted to talk about Jeremy Fowler made a report, and I'm gonna play his clip right here.
Last season, so they bring in their new offensive coordinator Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
They have no issues at quarterback with Jalen Hurts. What's the approach though for Jalen Hurts to learn the new system?
Yeah, well, I'm told that the Eagles have spent a lot of time this offseason taking the old offense or, Nick Sirianni's system last year that Jalen Hurts is used to, mixing it with Kellen Moore's principles, putting it all in a pot with some gumbo and seeing what works and what Jalen Hurts is comfortable with. I'm told Hurts has done a good job this offseason of being vocal and taking ownership of the plays he likes, the plays he doesn't. Nick Sirianni has really trusted the process, trusted his new veteran play caller to handle a lot of things. Even though he's an offensive-minded head coach, he's not micromanaging everything. And so
blending the offenses, I don't know, man. I know I seen somewhere else, and I don't know if that was Jeremy Fowler as well, but they were talking about not Kellen Moore, but Nick Sirianni handing over, most of the play calling to Kellen Moore, excuse me, and him having most of the control over the offense this year, which I did like. I really did like to hear. Of course, they're going to keep some plays that Jalen Hurts is used to, that he feels comfortable with, or a play that he likes to go to that maybe gets into a jam, or whatever the case may be. But at the same time, I do think Kellen Moore is going to be able to make Jalen Hurts what he looked like in 2022 with his offense. Also involving tight ends, like I said before, tight end heavy. He likes to use tight ends a lot. He likes to just be creative with the offense. So I feel like every player on this offense will be involved this year, and hopefully, it's not a slow start. I honestly really don't. I know people keep saying this, but I don't think it's going to be a slow start. I think Jalen Hurts has been going through this process every year. I feel like even though you shouldn't have to, I feel like he has a good grasp on it. And like I said before, like him having these throwing sessions and them doing these off-season workouts together with the players, is just building more reps, more snaps, and getting these guys more comfortable for when the time comes and they play in Brazil. We also got to remember too that Green Bay, I know I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but Green Bay has, I don't want to say some issues, but you lose Aaron Jones. They lost the defensive coordinator, and I can't remember what their defensive coordinator name is and where he came from, but I know he came from a college. And they also have to see how that works out, how that pans out. Not to say that they're going to have problems, but they also had some things change within their organization as well. So I just think with Kellen Moore having the experience that he has, and then he also said he's been working. I probably should play the clip right here.
Career so far. What are your first impressions of Jalen and how it's unique to guys like Dak and Justin?
Yeah, I really enjoyed Jalen's process. So far, I think really it's focused on how he processes the game and just kind of the classroom aspect of it, and we're beginning the field process of really getting out on the field and being able to do this thing. But I've really enjoyed our conversations. I think he's a really smart player. He has a great feel for this game. The more conversation we have, the more we get to make these adjustments and build off of this thing. But Jalen's one of the premier quarterbacks in this league for a reason. And you see it, on film previously, but obviously getting on the field now, you're certainly seeing it.
But talking about working with Jalen Hurts and, trying to build this offense around, his skill set is going to be very nice to see. And then also with the addition of Saquon Barkley, we also had a report come out. Oh, boy. We also had a report come out from Jeremy Fowler, and I'm going to play the clip here about them talking about Saquon.
They're getting to work on it. And the feeling around the league, talking to several teams, that Saquon Barkley will make a major impact, maybe even like a Christian McCaffrey to 49ers type impact, because he's never had this sort of supporting cast, this kind of offensive line.
Yeah.
He's going to make Hurts' job a lot easier.
It's been funny to look at it and say, oh, Jalen Hurts has all these weapons now. It's like, well, wait a minute. What are the new weapons? Saquon Barkley has a lot of protection out in front of him, a lot of ability there. That's Jeremy Fowler with the latest for us.
But pretty much it's saying that teams are around the league are scared of Saquon. They feel like he's going to have the Christian McCaffrey effect. And I even told my boy's a 49ers fan. I told him, I'm like, yo, man, y'all get Christian McCaffrey. That's a wrap. Now, have they done anything yet? They haven't won the bowl yet, but they have gotten there. So that's saying something. But staying on Saquon Barkley, he's a weapon, man. He can line up all over he can line up not all over the field, but he can line up as a wide receiver. He can line up in the backfield. There's so many different uses you can use to him. He can block. So it's a lot of different things. I can't wait to see what Kellen Moore does with him, utilizing him in this offense. But it's a lot, man. It's a lot of. It's going to be a lot of, I don't want to say changes, but it's going to be a completely different offense that we have used to seeing at least from last year. So we got a lot of dynamic players in these positions, and I feel like with Kellen Moore, like I said, with his skill set, I feel like he's going to be able to make sure, and he said it himself in his press conference, maybe not every week, A.J. Brown goes for 100-plus yards. Maybe, that's not this week because they got to adapt to different teams. You got to adapt to, how they're playing you. So it's just good to hear that kind of stuff because we didn't see no adaptation last year. I mean, we went out there, same scripted plays, hoping to score, and we scored most of the times. But after them scripted plays, man, it was a wrap. So hopefully, we get a little spice in this offense. But let's move on and talk about with the $25 million that we have left, right, in cap space. Do we go out and try to extend Dallas Goddard? I know I recently seen, and I don't think I have the tweet, but he was talking about I think he's approaching his last year of his deal, and talking about he wants to stay in Philly and things like that. I do remember that Zach Ertz not last year, but when the transition happened with him, getting moved to a different team, he was about a year younger, and they ended up bringing in Dallas, and now you know how that go. But Dallas is still here, and they keep talking about him being injury prone. I don't think Dallas is really injury prone like that. I just think he be having freak accidents, man. Like you can't help that you get pulled down like that last year or this past year, and he breaks his arm. Like stuff like that's won't happen in a physical contact sport. So, but I do think Dallas Goddard is a weapon, and I really would like to see how Kellen Moore uses him in this offense, because I really think he's a dynamic player, and he hasn't been getting utilized especially last season. I mean, he did his thing, but he could have been targeted more, and there was just a bunch of stuff going on with that we ain't even gonna speak about, but maybe trying to extend him, and then also Milton Williams. Milton Williams is kind of been going under the radar as well, but I feel as though with the Vic Fangio defense, that interior line or that line has to hit, and I think Milton Williams with Jalen Carter and Davis, I feel like they can really get some pressure this year. Hopefully, I know Clint Hurt is on there behind pause, but I know he is. I was watching the video with Josh from the Philly special, and they were interviewing BG, and he said that Clint came in ready, he came in ready to work, and he put them boys to work. So that's just good to hear, man, because these younger guys, if you remember in the press conference that Clint Hurt gave, he said that Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, and even Milton Williams as well, they're all younger guys that he can mold. You know what I mean? You can mold these younger guys into what you want them to be. And I really do think Clint Hurt, with his defensive coordinator background and just playing background and all that mixed into one, is going to be able to get these players up to speed. And I'm really expecting Jalen Carter to go off if it's not, I'm gonna be modest and say 10 sacks. I'm gonna be modest and say 10, but I really think he's gonna go like maybe 12. All due respect, depending on how they play him, because they like if you heard Nolan Smith had said before that they were playing him one-on-one during the year, and then he started catching on because they figured out my man was like that. You know what I'm saying? They had to double him up or whatever the case may be. So I'm expecting just the line, anybody on the line, just to hit home this year. A lot of youth on that line, so that should be a good thing. But then also you want you still got BG down there, but you want to kind of get somebody worked in there with that experience, which BG does have. So, but yeah, man, it's going to be a crazy season, man, crazy season. So, I do hope that Milton Williams, I don't like if he ends up signing a deal or an extension, it would be great because I feel like I feel like he's really going to have a decent year, bringing a lot of pressure to that quarterback on the interior. But I just hope because DTs are getting paid, man, and it's like. I know we got 25 mil left, and that during training camp, you might see some things that you might also want to acquire, before the season starts. So maybe they do try to, talk because they had preliminary talks with Milton Williams, and hopefully that that's saying that they're sooner than later they're trying to get a deal done. I never want nobody to take less than what they deserve, but if it's possible for him to take a little less money so we can be team friendly, but also that he gets paid as well for his, for his performance and then future performance as well. So, yeah, man, I just hope all that, gets done between him and Dallas, and hopefully we ain't got no problems going into the season. But I think everybody gets taken care of. I don't think we're going to have any problems with anybody holding out and stuff like that. But especially with with our team. I know other teams got some issues that we're not going to speak about, 49ers and whatever the case may be, but it is what it is. So, but I know, and I want to make sure I ain't miss anything. And I know I ain't been here in a few days, but I've been a little busy. My fault. I do apologize. I'm just trying to get this information, this content pumped out to you, man. So, and I also want to say it's about 25 or 27 days until training camp. So hopefully the content speeds back up because really hasn't been a lot going on. And I don't want to get on here and keep repeating myself, if that makes sense. But if y'all want to hear me come on here and repeat myself and say the same thing, I'll do that too. So with that being said, man, it's now from the No Cut Sports Podcast. I really do appreciate all my subscribers. And if you could, just please like, comment, and subscribe to always catch this vibe. And one more thing, man. Go Birds. I'm going to holler at y'all. Be safe.